Mel, welcome to the podcast. You're an author, you're an entrepreneur, you are an human design expert. We've got so much to talk about, and you're a mom. So, welcome to the podcast. I can't wait to dive in.
Thank you so much for having me, Angela. Same.
Yeah. I love your energy. I already know that this is gonna be a great conversation full of good stuff. Um, so yeah, before we dive in, why don't you set the stage for us and give us an idea on how you landed where you're at and what you're doing?
So that's a journey, which I'm sure is
Right.
not new in this world. So I've been an entrepreneur since 2010, and I actually started in the fitness industry. I was a certified personal trainer, and I did in-home trainings, outdoor boot camps. I got really well known actually in the Chicago area for my bridal boot camps, whole nine yards. And when my son was born in 2011, it became really difficult to travel to people's homes. I was married at the time, and his father worked at the time with a Major League Baseball team in the media relations department on the players' side, which meant he was gone 2 months straight for spring training, worked every single home game, took every other away trip, and our kiddo was born in the middle of the baseball season.
Hmm.
So that already was my first like plot twist of okay, how to figure this out. That on top of some undiagnosed postpartum depression, and that first year was a party, to say the least. So that was my kind of my first initiation of really putting my mental and emotional profitability first. I talk a lot about profitability, and I always talk it as about it in a threefold form. So to me, profitability is mentally, emotionally, and financially. And I sometimes in our journey, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs need to hear this because a lot of us have done it but don't seem to want to share it, is that there's sometimes in our journey where we have to make decisions that aren't necessarily in alignment with our big picture in order to fulfill one or more of those profitability buckets. So for me, I needed to fill that financial bucket so my mental and emotional could kind of catch up with me and I could have the space for that. So with that said, I decided to put a pin in my business and go do online medical billing, which was fun. Uh, Not my passion, nor, my forte. However, it was an opportunity for a solid year for me to just get my bearings with this whole parenting motherhood thing.
Mm. Yeah.
So I really loved that gave me the space and the capacity to figure out, okay, now what do I want? I
Hmm.
don't think we ask ourselves that question enough. It's what do I need to do? What do I should do? What do they need? What do they want? So to circle that back to me
Hmm.
really gave me that space to go, okay, so what does this look like? What is the time that I have now? What is the energy I have now? What do I want to do? And what fits inside those parameters? So that came forward as connecting with an online network marketing company called Beachbody. I was a health and fitness coach for them, loved it, had no inclination whatsoever to do the team building aspect. I just wanted to be an online health and fitness coach because in my mind, I was telling myself, well, who am I to help somebody build a business? And the universe is like, just you wait. Uh, and I became relatively successful pretty quickly. And at one point, my leader came to me and she was like, look, you are we coined myself a married single mom because my husband at the time was always gone. She's like, you're this married single mom and you hit your goals almost every single month. She's like, you are the most consistent person on my team. She's like, how do you do this? And I really didn't think it was anything revolutionary. Um, but she's like, can you just do a day in the life of Mel, like as a training, just to give some people some insight? And I realized that kind of put forward for me a little bit of my foundation in how I create what I want. And it came down to time and energy management, as I mentioned earlier. So I would not only look at the time that I have that given day, I would also check in on my energy levels. And instead of forcing myself to do something because I said I would, I instead went, okay, I don't have the energy for that. So what on my to-do list matches the energy that I have? Because getting stuff done is getting stuff done in my mind. I don't think an order matters. I don't think that even equates to your profitability. I think it's what the profitability comes from is you honoring the time and the energy that you have. And so I created kind of this quick little training. She stuck it in the new coach boot camp, and all of a sudden, her team's profitability and productivity started to expand. And with that, people just wanted to work with me. So all of a sudden, I had a team. And then people inside of Beachbody were asking me to do team calls and trainings for them. So I started doing that. That got the attention of friends and other network marketing companies. So I quietly on the side started doing that. And then we fast forward to 2015. I'm in the middle of my divorce. I have one foot in fitness that's going nowhere because my other one is in this new quote unquote business coaching avenue that I have found. And I thought, well, if there's any time to have another plot twist, it's now. And beautifully through Beachbody, I had the honor of having a year-long internship with John C. Maxwell, who is like the ultimate coaching guru. He's been in the industry for decades. My dad, I grew up listening to him on my dad's audiobooks, right?
Mhm.
And so I got this really beautiful initiation into his idea of coaching, and I fell in love with it. So I decided to get my coaching certification through him and his international leadership team. Left Beachbody in 2016, started my quote unquote business coaching company in 2017 with the initial intention to just work with people inside of network marketing. Because my main passion, if we boil it down to like one line, is to help those who are, assigned female at birth or identify as women be like know how to own their business, because it's so easy for us to copy and paste, to put on a mask or to put on airs or to, not really attune things to ourselves because we feel like we're not enough or we don't have the right information or resources or knowledge.
Yeah.
And that progressed to just entrepreneurs in general. And then human design found me in 2020, which obviously in hindsight, it's like, well, of course it came in 2020.
Right.
uh,
Right.
during a spiritual retreat that I attended 3 weeks before, unbeknownst to me, 3 weeks before lockdown here in Chicago. And we were in lockdown for a while here in
Yeah.
Chicago. And by that time, I had established myself as a sought after speaker. I had published my first book. I was beginning to write my second, and all of these avenues that were very financially and mentally, emotionally profitable for me, all of a sudden were null and void, or had completely shifted or been put on pause.
Yeah.
And so when I had my human design chart read to me, I sobbed because it was the vernacular that I was searching for I mean, honestly, for the most of my life, but especially inside of the coaching space, the vernacular of why I wanted to do things the way that I wanted to do them, or why I just naturally did them that way.
Hmm.
I had found myself in a position where financially I was very successful, and mentally and emotionally my profitability was tanked because I didn't feel authentic in my own business. It was me. I wasn't lying. I wasn't necessarily pretending. But what I was doing was I was diligently copying and pasting every single thing that my mentor told me to do, even when my insides were just like, oh, no. But I would do it anyway because that's what I needed, what I thought I needed to do in order to create what I want.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, my business became this internal tug of war. Social media wise, I looked amazing. I was selling my lifestyle. I was doing all the things again that my mentor told me to do. Internally, I would show up to every session going, this is the day they find out I am full of it. Like it was beyond imposter syndrome. This was really like, oh, like this wasn't me. And I got a really big universal face palm a month before this retreat where three of my clients fired me.
Oh.
Like they were just like, this is not what we were looking for. And I was like, yeah, no, it is, but it isn't. Like because I'm not the right person inside of this. Like I'm not
Mm.
fully owning, I going back on my own passion, right? I'm not fully owning my business. I gave everything to somebody else to tell me what to do.
Right. And you were
So
doing business mentorship or business
I was
coaching at
business
that point?
coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
And when human design found me and I read my chart, had my chart spoken to me, and it was just this, I call them OHFs, oh holy fuck moments. I just
Hmm.
had this huge OHF of I'm not lazy. I'm
Yeah.
not crazy. I'm
Hmm.
not weird. I, oh, that's why this didn't work. Or, okay, yeah,
Hmm.
this makes so much more sense. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is that we have everything inside of us to answer the call of our soul. We just have to find it. But
Yeah.
we're not taught to do that. We're taught, especially in the entrepreneurial world, seek out the solution, find the expert, find the funnel, and just do what they do and you'll be fine. I think that
Hmm.
whole
Yeah.
line now of like, if I can do it, anybody can. Ooh, let's not say we did. But we have that persona, right? And it's just instantly initiated as soon as we even utter that we are an entrepreneur. And
Yeah.
it's easy to get caught up in that because we want to be successful. We want to prove ourselves, not only to ourselves, but to others. And again, especially those who are assigned female at birth, identify as women, it's like it's a big drive for us.
Hmm.
And when I had that, and then with 2020 giving me the space for the most part, I did have my son at home, distance learning. Ho ho ho! That was a whole new plot twist.
Yeah.
Um, it gave me that space to go, okay, now that I know this to be true for myself, it's been validated, it's been confirmed. What small shifts can I start making to really align my business to my design? And it's been this really beautiful evolution
Hmm.
since to where now, and as we're recording this in the year 2024, I have never felt so connected to my business in my entire career. The fact that authenticity is like the surface level word for it, but it
Hmm.
really is this deep trust of I know myself. I know my process. I know my pace, and therefore the trust outwardly that this is going to work out. It's not naivety. It really is that grounded truth of, nope, I know this is going to work out because I know this to be true. And
Hmm.
that has created just the most expansive profitability in my life that has been so amazing. And everybody deserves to feel themselves the confidence and the validation inside of their businesses and inside of their lives every single day. So that is why I had added this as an initiator to work with me, or even just a one off with me to
Hmm.
give people this information, because to me, it's chef's kiss.
Yeah. No, I mean, you said so much juicy stuff there. One, I mean, kind of my motto is stop the seeking and start the knowing.
Ooh, yeah.
I mean, I see it. I see it so much. And I used to do it. Who's going to give me the right recipe? Who's going to da, da, da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da. And the second you start understanding who you are and what works for you, and
Yeah.
this instrument that we have been given to share our gifts, like that's what you need to do first. Or
Yeah.
we're going to be spending the thousands on the coaches and the courses, and nothing's going to be working. And you're going to be like, why?
Yeah. And we get to that, like, what's wrong with me? Why
Right.
can't we flip that and go, well, what's wrong with this advice? What
Right.
what if it's
Yeah.
not you? Because it's probably not. What's wrong with this advice? And I
Yeah.
love that you said that we need to seek out the recipes. I was chatting with a friend the other day, and it came to me of like, we're not these experts, myself included, we give you the ingredients. It's up to us to be
Mm-hmm.
those scientists, to be those chefs inside and create the recipe for ourselves. So even
Yeah.
flipping that,
I love
or
it.
creating that reframe of, yes, I
Yeah.
can give you this ingredient of human
Mm-hmm.
design. How you sprinkle that in and how much you
Mm-hmm.
sprinkle that in is completely up to you.
Yeah.
But again, it's that trust of you can do this.
Yeah.
It's more than okay, and you are more than capable.
Yeah. And then your account of seeing your human design report, I don't know. I've heard that same tale. I don't know how many times. Like
Yeah.
you you are seen in a way you've never been seen before. And I had talked about people about like the various energy types in human design. And I was like, I
Mhm.
think I'm a projector. And then I
Most of
get
us
my
are in the
report.
coaching and consulting
I
world.
know, right? And so I'm like, and for the longest, I didn't really know anything, but I'm like, oh, you probably have to be like some generator, manifester, or something to be
Yeah.
successful and like create things, right? Well, no. So if you're listening to this, um, get your human design report, please. Please do. If you don't take anything away from this, do that. And so it's so powerful in that key component of getting to know
Yeah.
yourself and who you are.
Yeah.
So you said something really interesting, and I think that this is absolutely spot on, that women, minorities, moms, we are especially vulnerable to the cookie cutter
Mhm.
idea. Why
Mhm.
do you think that is?
I mean, from my personal experience as a caregiver to a special needs kid, my kiddo is autistic. For me, I just wanted something that I could just set it and forget it because I
Mm,
spend so much time investigating for him or, adjusting. My brain is always going, right?
yeah.
And so I think we're attracted to the fact that we can not have to put so much time and energy into something and it will still work because we
Yeah.
do have so much on our plates and so
Right.
much on our mind
Yeah.
constantly. And
Mm,
also, it is, as I mentioned earlier, it's that glimmer of I can be successful faster. That way, this is going to be easier in the long run.
mm-hmm.
We want, like, and we're not looking necessarily, I probably shouldn't generalize that, it's more than just the straightest, narrowest path, right? None of us are going to
Mm-hmm.
have that.
Mm-hmm.
It's reframing it to instead of how can I get there faster, it's how can I get there sustainably. And
Mm-hmm.
we forget that sustainability part. We think that if we burn, our candle at both ends for just a short amount of time, it's not going to bite us in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Always does. No matter
Mm-hmm.
how much. So there should never we are easy to exchange our energy for something else instead
Mm-hmm.
of honoring the energy that we have and letting it just fit with what we've got.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it is that attractiveness of I can set it and forget it. Everything's done for me, so I don't necessarily have to think about it,
Yeah.
as well as I can get validated faster by others because the success is going to come sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't take the time to internally check and go, but what is this really doing to me
Yeah.
mentally, emotionally, right now? Because all we have is
Mm-hmm.
right now. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up in a very entrepreneurial household, love my father, two pieces. And we grew up surviving several very unsuccessful businesses. And I saw what that did to his priorities with us, to his, mental and emotional capacity, to all of the things. And
Mm-hmm.
so I went into this full on knowing what it's like to have a family and be an entrepreneur. And because of the decisions that he made, I learned how to make different decisions and to reprioritize differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we give ourselves that permission to, yes, I don't even like sacrifices because I don't like that word. I think having those stopping points or
Mm-hmm.
having those things that we can put a pause on,
Mm-hmm.
it is all in the light of sustainability, not in the essence of I just need to get there. Like I just need to finish this and then I'll be fine. It's never works out that way. You can finish it and be fine, but something else is always going to come up. So again, how can we take those cookie cutters, not necessarily copy and paste them, but go, ooh, okay, that bit, yes, that Bob, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
This, I'm actually going to do it this way. And now you have a sustainable process without the guilt, without the FOMO, without the, well, what's wrong with me?
Yeah.
It's the, oh, thank you for that insight. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
take what you have done and then I'm going to create it for myself. Because honestly, if we
Mm-hmm.
look at the more successful, quote unquote, entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they've done. They've
Yeah.
taken something that didn't work for them, made it their own, and they're like,
Right.
"Hala!" So
Mm-hmm.
it's not to sell it to everybody else, but that is the example of that's how
Mm-hmm.
that's quote unquote success and sustainability go hand in hand.
Yeah. No, I was a student of a wildly successful female entrepreneur, and that's how things were presented. Like, you just do what I do, and that
Yeah.
did not work for me at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck? Like, this cannot be right.
Yeah.
Like,
Where's the cameras? Is this like,
yeah,
a practical
right?
joker
Like,
hitting? Yeah.
this. And I've
Yeah.
had several of those situations. And
Hmm.
so I love how you talk about we need to be the architects of our success.
Yeah.
So maybe give us some examples of how maybe learning about your energy type and
Hmm.
more about yourself. What are some of the adjustments that you made in your business that helped find that balance of like working, your business working for you and
Hmm.
your lifestyle that you wanted to have, and
Hmm.
also providing success?
So the first thing that was a major OHF, and also, I'm sorry, what? Is the fact that my strategy, and actually 90% of the population strategy, has an element of weight to it. So for projectors, our strategy is wait to be invited.
Right.
What entrepreneur has been taught to wait? None, right? We're taught to initiate, we're taught to follow up, we're taught to go for the ask. And I did the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So my once I kind of got over that shock
Mm.
of I have to what now?
Yeah.
It was looking then, okay, so then how am I spending my time? Because how my day was previously structured, which again on paper made me look very successful, was I spent 30 minutes Monday through Friday every morning stalking speaking events and respectfully stalking the people online, going for the ask, engaging with their stuff, filling out inquiry after inquiry after inquiry after inquiry. And I would keep a list and I would do all the follow-ups, all of the things. And then I would go after that. And then I would go to my social media. Okay, I got a post. I have to engage. I have to do this. Like I had a very structured, always initiating type of schedule. And if anybody wanted to meet me, absolutely just say when and where I would make myself available. Because to me, I had the energy. Projectors only have 2 to 4 hours of focused energy. We receive it from everybody else. That was another thing I went too far in, is that I would receive energy from others. I would go meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, be like, yeah, great, awesome, this is awesome. And as soon as that last meeting was done, all of a sudden it was lights off, no sound, don't touch me, don't talk to me, like, mm-mm.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why. I called myself an extroverted introvert. But then I found through my human design, oh no, I also have an element called hermit in my design. I
Mm-hmm.
literally, not only do projectors need to rest periodically throughout the day,
Mm-hmm.
quote unquote rest, and that's defined by you. I have an extra element of hermit where the more that I hide, quote unquote, the more that I'm seen.
Mm.
So was that reframe for me as well as, oh, I don't have to keep screaming into the void and constantly sharing and constantly like being quote unquote consistent as I was
Mm-hmm.
taught from my, traditional mentor. So then it was, let's redefine consistency for me with this new information.
Mm.
That also went into, okay, so if I have 3 to 4 hours of work and I want to make sure I don't burn out, I created an automation with my calendar. My calendar, the only time you can schedule time with me is if I send you a link. No more do I do the back and forth because I always fuck it
Oh,
up.
yeah. I had
And
to learn that too.
yeah, and my calendar knows I only take virtual coffees certain days of the week. I only take a certain amount per day, and I have to have an hour break in between.
Yeah.
So that I don't have to think about it. That I can set and forget because I created an automation that honors my boundaries and therefore just becomes a natural part of my pace and part of my tone.
Mm-hmm.
So it's those little things,
Mm-hmm.
right? My favorite saying is by Brendan Burchard, where he says, it's the little things you do every day that make the biggest difference. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we forget that. I think that we forget that if even just shifting the perspective of
Mm-hmm.
how much time do I have to what is my energy like and the time that I have, that reframes a lot of things for you and
Mm-hmm.
for me. And so it was just those little things first of automating, that's a word. Yeah.
Mm.
My calendar,
Uh-huh.
understanding my energetic flows and rest points. I'm
Mhm.
not lazy.
Mhm.
Projectors have a slower pace.
Mhm.
It is those like, if I would have known that 10 years, would I made different choices? Maybe, but I now know it. So I'm making different choices now. And
Mhm.
it's really reset the pace of my business as well
Mhm.
as how I now receive opportunities.
Mhm.
And even in that, the yumminess inside of that, instead of that frantic, I have to be available, I have to be seen, I
Mhm.
have I share, I wait to be invited. I take time making that decision because I'm also what's called an emotional authority. So if something is
Mhm.
super exciting, I still have to sleep on it and ask more
Mhm.
questions.
Mm.
If it feels like crap, that's a huge like
Yeah.
And so inside that, it is just again adjusted my pace on how I create my business. I now know because I have that personalized operations manual through my human design.
Mhm.
And with that knowledge, I can look at the resources that I've already invested in, the support that I already have, and rejudge it to who I
Mhm.
am now, realign it to my design, or
Mhm.
bless and release because it was a panic moment.
Yeah.
And I now know better.
Yeah. No, I love that so much. And I just like, I couldn't even, like, I would just shut down. Like, I couldn't even try to do the things that people would say. Like,
Yeah.
I just, like, this is not sustainable. And having like a life and like sleeping
Yeah.
and resting. And so I immediately just wouldn't even like, I don't even know how you do that before I even understood my energy type. And
Yeah.
so I'm so glad to have a conversation that gives people permission to be who they are and
Yeah.
quit comparing themselves with other people and quit beating themselves up. And
Yeah.
you can absolutely create a business that works for you and have
Absolutely.
success and have success. Like it's not
Yes. It's not a, yeah,
one
it's
or
not
the
an
other.
either or. Yeah.
Actually, you can
And
have more success when it feels
exactly.
easy, when it feels that
Yeah.
element of ease is there. So,
Yeah.
like,
And that's what human design is aimed. It's the science of
right,
differentiation. It's to show us
right.
our individual
Yeah.
profitability points.
Yeah. It
And
removes that resistance. Uh,
exactly.
you're just constantly wondering why that was there. And
Yeah.
you're constantly trying to do what you think everybody else wants you to do or what you
Yeah.
should be doing.
Yeah.
Uh, bleh.
Yeah.
Like I just
Exactly.
can't even do it. I can't even
Right.
co-sign this. Like at
And
my age, I'm like,
ugh, fam, same. And I want to say this too. I want to give everybody, not that this has not been a very hopeful episode already, but just to
right.
give an extra glimmer of hope. We all naturally work inside of our design. I have never had a reading where somebody goes, "I'm sorry, what?" Unless they gave me the wrong birthday or the wrong location. We all naturally work inside of our design. We just go too far, or
Mm,
we don't fully understand our starting points, our stopping points, our
mhm,
energetic boundaries
mhm.
because we don't have the information for ourselves.
Right.
And so I don't want somebody to be like, "Oh my god, I've been doing this wrong the whole time." I've actually had clients say that's been a fear of theirs, having a reading, that they're going to be told that they have chosen the wrong path, that they've done every single thing wrong for the entirety of their life so far. That
Wow.
is
Yeah.
not possible. It just gives
Mm,
you that reframe and those cinches, those zhuzhes of just like,
mhm.
oh, this, okay, so
Yeah.
that, yes, and, right?
Right.
It's not, oh, but. And so that
Right.
is the beauty in having that information is it's not a surprise party. It
Yeah.
is nothing but time that validates you, confirms you, and gives you the awareness of where you have gone too far or where you have not come from because
Yeah.
either you were never taught to, or you were scared to, or everybody told you it was weird and
Mhm.
stupid.
Yeah. No, I love that. And if anybody is wondering, you need your birth date, your
Mhm.
location, and
Time.
the time. Yeah.
Yep.
Just like if you were getting your birth chart in
Mhm.
astrology. you know,
Exactly.
and human design is this melding of several different um practices,
Yeah,
including astrology.
exactly.
So, you know, definitely make sure you know that and get your human design report. I want to talk about Reiki now because I'm a Reiki practitioner as well.
Love
And
it.
I have incorporated that into my coaching. And it's like,
Mhm.
ah, right? It is like,
Yeah.
where has this been my whole life, along with the
Mhm.
human design and understanding our energy? And so, talk about how, that energetic awareness informs your coaching and how you incorporate that.
So for me, especially when it comes to, I coaching, I call it guidance. That's
Yeah.
the term that I like
Right.
to use. Um, but how that's helped me is energetically, obviously, protect my energy. Because again, I only have small amounts of it on my own. So it helps me go, okay, I have, for example, this podcast interview, right?
Yeah.
I know that this does, because it's concentrated and very amazing energy that I'm exchanging with somebody else, is going to exhaust me after. So
Mhm.
I blocked out my calendar for 2 hours after
Mhm.
this. If
Mhm.
I'm speaking, especially if it's in the evening, I take the day of off and
Yeah.
the day after off.
Yeah.
And so again, it's helped me honor that instead of punish myself for not being able to push through it.
Mhm.
And when I step into sessions, instead of me trying to, how do I want to say this? Insert
Mhm.
energy,
Mhm.
I've trained myself very well to be like, okay, makeup, eyebrows up, sitting up, I'm engaged, right? Cheekbones hurting because I'm constantly smiling, to allowing myself to step
Uh-huh.
into my sessions with the energy and receiving whatever energy they have and matching it for them.
Yeah.
So subconsciously, now, and this is literally is coming to me in this moment. Subconsciously, I was trying to dictate my sessions back in the day. I was trying to dictate the energy because I always wanted everybody to be positive and I always wanted everything to be a solution. And I wanted to just be like the resource
How did you
to,
survive?
I don't, whoa, I mean, besides the major burnout that lasted a year, I don't think I did. But I trained myself very well
Hmm.
to, I step into a session now and I am here for my client. I'm here to
Yeah.
guide. And I think that's why I like the
Mhm.
term guide
Yeah, that
better.
is a great term.
I'm here to facilitate. Because I know them.
Mhm.
I've seen their
Mhm.
charts. They know them because they've seen their chart. So it's
Mhm.
not about me giving them any sort of framework or, structure, quote unquote, that is mine that they can copy and paste, like my
Mhm.
previous mentor asked me, and that I did
Mhm.
diligently for the
Mhm.
first, 5 years of being a coach.
Mhm.
It is like, okay, no, what is it that you want? How do you want to bring this
Mhm.
across? And let's look at your chart. And so I can prove to you why that's going to be true. It's a lot
Mhm.
about proving. It's a lot about the proof is in the
Mhm.
pudding. And that's what I find with utilizing this inside of my sessions with my clients,
Mhm.
is it's constantly giving them that validation and confirmation.
Mhm.
And when they're, in a kind of a sticking point, it's then taking time to go, let's see where that sticking point is coming from.
Mhm.
Energetically in human design, as I know you're aware of, for me, it's the centers. Oh, I could spend
Yeah.
so much time on people's centers and which ones are defined and which ones are open and
Mhm.
how they've probably been using the opened ones as defined. And that's why,
Mhm.
right? It just, that's what's created
Yeah.
uh, this trauma or this structure or what have you.
Mhm.
And when they understand a little bit more of, oh, I'm meant to receive from that space instead of react from that space,
Mhm.
again, all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's
Mhm.
why.
Mhm.
Okay. Now that I
Mhm.
have that information, let's make new decisions.
Mhm. Yeah, I just this conversation is just so good because it's just all about learning who you are as an
Yeah.
individual instead of just
Yeah.
constantly trying to, it just cuts through the noise because everybody is just
Absolutely.
constantly looking for that thing, that next
Hmm.
thing that's going to be the secret sauce. Like it is right here. It is right in front of your face.
Yep.
Like, man, I just love it. we're coming up a little against time, but I wanted to also make sure that we're talking about, how you manage this with motherhood, and help
Mhm.
our listeners who, it's a constant journey. It's not a one and
Mhm.
done,
Yeah.
for me, I know I can attest my kids are 17 and 12, and even then, like, their schedules and their
Mhm.
demands and things going on are constantly
Yeah.
changing almost every week.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, but it's like, what are some things that have worked for you on your journey of
Mhm.
balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship?
First of all, knowing my kids'
Yes.
human design
Yes.
has been stellar.
Yeah.
Because then I catch myself on, oh, this is
Mhm.
how oh, wait, my son's a manifester. He's a splenic manifester.
Mm.
Score. Um, so for those who don't know, manifestors are the initiators. They are those magical people that just
Yeah.
think and do, and their strategy is to inform. And so
Mhm.
my main thing right now that I've been consistently focusing on with him is that informed strategy, because he just likes to
Mm.
do. He can see it
Mm.
and he has to experiment. He also has an element of martyr in his chart, so he has to experience it in
Mm.
order to know. So understanding that for myself of, okay, he's a manifester, he has to experiment, and he needs to learn how to keep me up to date with that, has really helped me understand how to be a parent with him.
Mm.
Um, for myself personally, as I mentioned, he is autistic. And especially when we were in lockdown, not only was I trying to make my business stay afloat, but I was now his OT, his PT, his behavioral therapist, his special ed teacher, his gen ed teacher. I was everything. And understanding my boundaries,
Uh,
my energetic boundaries,
yeah.
also helped me be open and honest with him. Him and I have a very open and honest communication. If I'm having a day, I
Mhm.
will look at him and be like, I love you. And
Mhm.
I'm very overwhelmed right now. So I'm going to go sit here. I'm going to come back when I'm ready. And
Mhm.
I didn't, because my mom, love her. I don't remember her ever doing that. I remember her just either putting on a happy face and getting everything done, and then watching her, hearing her silently cry in the bedroom, or just get so wound up that all of a sudden she just disintegrates, and not knowing where that came from, and then thinking it was my fault because she didn't communicate right. It's this kind of like spiral.
Yeah.
And so it has helped me as a parent because I can understand my kiddo's energetic blueprint and how I can reframe what I want to say to him so it does stick with him,
Mhm.
or that he can focus. And
Mhm.
with being autistic and having very few quote unquote typical days, no pun intended, um, reminding myself of how I can take care of myself for that sustainability of I can only do so much. And
Mhm.
it's more than okay when I have hit my limit to look at him and say, I've hit my limit. Or now that I have an amazing partner who lives with us, who is a great co-parent, can look at him and go, tag team, like I got nothing.
Yeah.
And he then, because I wouldn't have done that either before with my ex-husband, it was just like, nope, I gotta fix this, I gotta do this because I am here all the time, I am the mom, he's working, I have to make this, I have to almost like earn my worth with him.
Mm.
And reframing that of is not how to prove my worth by how busy it is again, how can I get through this sustainably and as healthy as possible with him. So it's given me the vernacular on how to talk with him. It's given me that operations manual of how to take care of myself
Mhm.
energetically, and what that and how that can show up when I have kind of gone to the other side a little bit too far. And it just helps that flow feel natural
Mhm.
instead of, oh shit, right? Just like,
Yeah.
why am I crying every time I want to talk?
Mhm.
Oh, that's probably why. And because I have that information, I then now know how, or at least what I can do to get the support or to get that release. And I'm showing Max, my son, the same thing of he has
Yeah.
every right to request when he's
Mhm.
overwhelmed, to let me know and to have that back and forth. So it's really helped us have a very open, communicative
Mhm.
relationship
Mhm.
and me have such a confident understanding in how my kiddo is, not only as an autistic kiddo, but also as a manifester and all these other things, to help him navigate the
Mhm.
world that he's in as this
Mhm.
amazing being that he
Mhm.
is.
Mhm. I love that so much because there is this idea that, oh, I'm an entrepreneur over here and I'm a mom over here. And I
Yeah.
love how you're showing us how the tools that you have gained to become a more successful and informed entrepreneur that's helped you get more self knowledge and ability has informed your parenthood and how you interact with your child and helped you become a better mom. And
Yeah.
so that's just puts a beautiful bow on the whole conversation because that's my goal is to show listeners how this is all holistically related. We're not here
Mhm.
to just focus on the strategy and do
Yeah.
this, do this, do this, and you'll get this.
Yeah.
Like it's just doesn't happen that way. And if you haven't
Nope.
figured it out that way yet, come back.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll be here.
we'll be here. So especially I just think as women, I think we're just so individual and complex and we just don't fit this cookie cutter to an even greater degree. So I just love all that you shared with us, all the
Thank you.
permission you gave us to get it to know ourselves better and share the tools. If you had a takeaway or a few takeaways for listeners, what would that be?
I mentioned this earlier, but it really is true. You really do have everything inside of you to answer the call of your soul. You just have to find it
Yeah.
and trust yourself. We, you do have everything. Like you are naturally a profitable, amazing, successful, quote unquote, person.
Mm-hmm.
So trust those pulls, trust those pings, even if you
Mm-hmm.
can't defend them, with words. You don't have to. You don't have to justify it to yourself or others, honestly. If you're
Mm-hmm.
just like, there's something about this that just isn't right, can't put my finger on it. So I'm just going to put a pin in it for right now.
Right.
That is you automatically working
Mm-hmm.
inside of your design. So
Yeah.
do not be afraid to trust yourself. Do not be afraid of your pace, of your
Mm-hmm.
of your process,
Mm-hmm.
because this is yours. You are the singular most important person in your life and in your business. And utilizing those tools with that in mind, top of mind,
Mm-hmm.
that's what's really going to help you continue to be profitable mentally, emotionally, and financially every day.
100%. All of that. Thank you so much, Mel, for
Thank
sharing your
you.
wisdom and your experience. And you just really just blazed a trail for others to follow and hopefully take less time. And it doesn't have to be hard, and if it is hard, find another path and look for resources to make it
Mm-hmm.
easier. We just get
Mm-hmm.
so caught up in like the value of something is how hard it is for you,
Yeah.
and like it
Yeah.
is, let's just please get rid of that limiting thought. Things
Mm-hmm.
get to be easy because you are inherently abundant
Yeah.
and successful. And it's just like finding that path for you. So,
Yep.
where can listeners connect with you and learn more and hopefully get their human design chart?
Yeah. So I always love to be accessible and to meet new people. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, Mel, I have questions that I want to pick your brain with, I actually have a link for that. I do offer complimentary 30-minute virtual coffees, no sales, no stress, safe space. And you can schedule that at virtualcoffeewithmel.com. If you would like to respectfully stalk me online, you can find me on LinkedIn, Mel McSherry, or on Instagram at Mel_McSherry. Or feel free to check out how I do my readings because everybody does their readings
Yep.
differently at my
Mhm.
website, melmcsherry.com.
That's awesome. Thanks, Mel. I hope listeners
Yeah.
will connect with you and get to know themselves better. Please do that. All right. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.